Back in my middle school days, there was one trend that I distinctly remember over all others that gripped America's youth by storm. These of course were Heelys, a brilliant invention with a good marketing push behind it that allowed people to glide around in the brand's patented sneaker. This wasn't witchcraft however, but instead a wheel inside the heel of the shoe. So with a running start or a slope, you were able to put the weight on the back of your sneakers and roll with ease. It was a pretty nifty invention, and a lot of people thought likewise, making it a phenomenon. Heelys were invented in 1999 by Roger Adams, a man that was going through a midlife crisis, and for some reason that caused him to attach wheels to an old pair of Nikes. I'm still not exactly sure how those two things are connected. Anyway, this would serve as a prototype to the product that a few years later would become massive. Recently I was looking back and remembering that brief period of time when every kid was zipping around in these things. I remember my brother had a pair, but I was sadly never in on the trend. That is until now, as a full-grown adult in 2018, I'll buy myself a pair of Heelys. And since I'm making a YouTube video about it, I could write them off of my taxes. So here I am in my office today, and I'm going to buy myself my very first pair of Heelys. I'm really excited. So what surprised me the most about this website is that they're still updating it to this very day, and they're making new designs for sneakers. I was kind of envisioning that they would just have old stock of them from 2008, and then there would just be a dude in the middle of the room who would be sleeping all day long, and then he'd get a notification that somebody finally bought a pair, and they'd ship them out. But no, it's still a legitimate business. I also noticed that they have this page for campus reps. It looks like they have these people that they sponsor with Heelys at different college campuses, and they have Instagram accounts. And I'm a bit offended. They never reached out to me, even though I probably have more of a reach than every single one of these people combined. I mean, come on, Heelys, you gotta send me a few free pairs. I basically have a lock on the 20-some-year-old white dude who sits on YouTube all day demographic. Okay, so let's actually go and browse some of these new Heelys they have out nowadays. And this pair looks kinda neat, and it's a women's shoe. First one I click on is for women. Okay, let's see what else they have. So I'm going through these shoes right now, and none of them would fit me. That is very unfortunate. So I went through all of them, and the only one that came in size 14 was this just black bland pair of Heelys. So I guess I have no choice but to buy these. That's one of the downsides of having big feet, is that you're never actually able to find shoes that fit you, but on the plus side, it also means you have a big... Okay, so let me go and buy myself this pair of Heelys before they run out of stock, and they are being delivered. So I should expect to see them in a week.
Heelys, the original shoe with the wheel and the heel.
So the day has arrived and I received my Heelys in the mail. The first thing I noticed when I opened up the box was that the corners were really tattered up. It seemed like this has been pushed around a warehouse for many years, not selling, and they were just kind of passing it aside until somebody like me finally came in and purchased this pair of shoes. I tried looking around the package a little bit to see if I could find a date for when these Heelys were made, but I think they did a good job not putting a date on the package so you don't know how long they were sitting around for. But other than that, they are perfectly new and decent sneakers. I tried them on a bit, and yeah, they're a decent, well-constructed pair of just black sneakers. And the greatest part about it is you could actually take out the heels, which I'm not sure everybody realized. It comes with this little tool that you could use to stick right in there, and you could actually pop out the Heely portion of the sneaker and then put in this little cap to cover it up, and you could just wear these as regular sneakers. And honestly, I don't think anybody would even notice. The one thing that really surprised me about the sneaker was just how high up it is. Looking back now, it makes sense, but I didn't realize at the time to get the heel in there, they have to make the sole of the shoe extra thick. So even when you don't have the wheel in there, it still makes you an extra inch higher compared to other sneakers. When you add in the wheel, it makes you a lot taller by at least 2 or 3 inches. So me getting into these shoes and walking around a bit, I felt like a monster, just really gigantic. So if you're a person that wants to add an inch or 2 to your height, these actually may be the right sneakers for you because it's not really noticeable if you're just walking around, but they do make you taller. With that being said, I have to just go and practice until I'm able to heel in them. I remember when I was a kid, and even to this very day, the website and all the instructional material tells you to always wear a helmet, elbow pads, and knee pads when riding around on these things, and that's just so stupid because no one ever did that. I understand that for legal reasons they have to tell kids that they have to wear a helmet while riding around on these things, but honestly, if you are in a helmet while riding down the street in Heelys, people are going to think there's something mentally wrong with you. So with that being said, let's try these things out. So now that I have the shoes, I am going to try to be able to Heely in them. I figure it won't be that hard since there were so many 5th graders that were able to do it back in the day. While it was difficult keeping my balance at first, after a tutorial online, I figured out that you should practice your Heely technique standing still, then adding movement later on. Within a few hours, I was able to ride like a pro. Scooting around in these things as an adult has given me a newfound appreciation for them. They're actually pretty fun, and as I was learning how to keep my balance, I started to wonder when exactly they lost their popularity in the mainstream and why. I wasn't exactly sure when Heelys dropped off since I was young at the time, but looking at Google Trends, the brand hit a peak in 2006, but an extreme drop-off was seen in December of that year, when every single school in the world simultaneously banned the things. Jokes aside, you can see that this brand started to pick up steam in 2005, became a cultural phenomenon in 2006, then began to fade in 2007. By the end, I saw stores discounting the shoe that they couldn't even keep on the shelves at full price only a year or so before. I could come up with some convoluted reason for why Heelys fell off so quickly, but I think the truth is pretty simple. While an interesting idea, it was still a gimmicky item that only caught on with kids. The sneakers were never a fashion statement or a viable extreme sport, but rather the hot toy for Christmas of 2006. I remember Heelys had a peer pressure appeal to them. All the cool kids wore them, so others wanted them too. When that went away, everyone lost interest. Another big thing were the safety concerns about these shoes, which I always thought was fake hysteria. Reports were coming out of the occasional kid losing his balance and spraining an ankle while in Heelys. This led to sensationalized articles about how dangerous they were, with many wacko moms calling for their ban. Of course, Heelys were never any less safe than football, skateboarding, or any other physical activity for that matter. But since it was popular, all these idiots rallied together in hypocritical outrage and were successful to a small degree. I've read some things online that the brand is still popular in some Asian markets, but I can't confirm or deny how accurate that actually is. All I know is I haven't seen anyone wear the things in the United States in the past decade. I can't help but feel that Heelys has the potential to make a comeback. Today's kids were too young or not even born yet when these things were popular. It's possible to repeat the brand's success with the new generation who haven't even heard of them yet. The company could strategically throw some money at the Paul brothers and maybe a few other YouTubers popular with kids to start rolling around in these things. Maybe make a Team 10 variety or something. If done right, it could really blow up again. Until that day, however, I am probably the most popular person currently cruising around in them, which isn't saying much at all. Now that I've gotten pretty good doing it forwards, I'm going to try to do the Heely backwards. So I know what you've been asking yourself, are Heelys actually a good form of transportation? Even if you haven't asked that question, I still wanted to test it out for myself. So I enlisted the help of this motorcyclist to do a little bit of a race. Whoever gets to the finish line first is the winner. So will you start your engine, please? On your mark, get set, go! As you can see, the motorcycle is technically a faster form of transportation just by a bit, so Heelys are more for fun rather than a practical use to get to places.